Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Press for Truth. I'm your host, Dan Dix, and today we're joined on the line by Stewart Rhodes, the founder of the Oath Keepers, and he joins us today from Ferguson, Missouri. Stewart, thank you very much for taking some time to speak with us here today at Press for Truth.
Hey, no sweat.
So, being that you're on the grounds in there right now, what is the mood there today like? Is it kind of calm right now, or what's it like there today?
Yeah, it's quieted down quite a bit. I got in last night, and I think because of the cold weather, and it probably helps, but things have really chilled out. Talking to our guys on the ground, big, huge difference between now and last week. Last week was very chaotic and very dangerous, and now it's just pretty quiet.
Well,
so hopefully, that'll be the end of any more civil unrest, we hope.
Yeah, well, are you noticing any differences in how it's being portrayed in the media over there based on what you're seeing with your own eyes on the grounds?
No, not really. I'm too busy doing stuff to follow the news, so I really can't speak to that.
Mm-hmm. And what is your purpose for being there? How does the Oath Keepers fit into the story of Ferguson?
Well, we on last Monday, realized the governor was not going to be deploying National Guard, actually guard the businesses that were vulnerable to arson. We did a conference call with the local guys here, and we decided to take action. We put a call out for volunteers. I got a guy sitting right across me right now. It's from Vermont. Guys came from Vermont, Nebraska, Texas, Iowa, Illinois, from all over the place to help these people, do what we can to guard as many businesses as we could. We managed to guard 4 businesses. Starting Monday night, late Monday night, but really getting full swing from Tuesday all the way until now, began stopping arsonists. We've had multiple arson attempts to burn the buildings down, and threats, direct threats. And they've got people living in apartments above these buildings. A lot of the media kind of miss it. They just sound like we're just here to protect property, and it's not just that, it's also life.
Mm-hmm. So are other members of Oath Keepers who have showed up there to help with the efforts there?
Yeah, like I said, guys all the way from Vermont and Texas, Illinois, and just multiple states. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well, what does it go to say? That members of the Oath Keepers have to show up in order to do the policing work of the police there when the police have been completely out of hand. How would you say the police have been handling things there in Ferguson?
Well, they did better this time as far as how they handled the protesters. And back in August, a lot of the things they did were way over the top and ineffective. This has been kind of a recurring theme. Nothing to stop the actual criminals, the looters and arsonists, but everything to screw around with the peaceful protesters, what we saw in August. They put an open letter out to Governor Nixon, letting him know this is a long way to go. They should use undercover officers to go find the actual bad guys in the crowd and arrest them, stop them from doing things. You don't stand back in a big police line and lob them with bullets and tear gas at people with the whole crowd because a few of them are doing bad things. You go and get the bad guys and doing it. Mm-hmm. That's just common sense. But they didn't do that. This time around, our biggest focus has been, look, in preparation, we sent an open letter to the people of Ferguson saying you have to, you the protesters have an obligation and duty to police your own. Don't let outside agent provocateurs, start fires and loot. You need to put a stop to that. And unfortunately, between the failure of the governor to properly deploy his assets, the National Guard, and the failure of the police even to focus on preventing arson, and the protesters themselves not adequately policing what's going on in their own community, I think they're all at fault. I think the protesters own part of that too. I'm not saying that they're condoning it or they're helping them, but they're not doing anything to stop them. And the people of this community have got to put a stop to the arsonists. Yes. And so our perception is look, we need to come in here and show, lead by example and show how it's done. And we did see, there have been people in Ferguson who stepped up. We saw, like all the young black guys guarding that Conoco station owned by a white man. So there are examples of the Ferguson citizens doing the right thing. That's kind of our message is that, look, you cannot count on the police. There's not enough of them, first of all. And there's this problem of you might have a political hack like the governor who throws a monkey wrench in. Even when the rank and file officers are willing to do the work, they're ordered to go do something else. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, that's what happened here. They pulled back from an entire section of town, and the arsonists had free reign. So, without our guys being there, those buildings would not exist. Natalie's Cakes and More, a lady who's been in the news, Natalie Du Bois, her shop is one of the shops we're guarding. So, we got a bunch of Oath Keeper veterans, one combat vets and retired cops, guarding these buildings, including Natalie's place, and it's just bizarre that we're getting flack for it. What do they want us to do?
Yeah.
People are like, you shouldn't be here. Well, okay, so you want Natalie's shop burned to the ground? You want the Chinese restaurant next door? What about the people who live in the apartments above the shops? You want them dead? Yeah. So it's just like overwhelming at me. And then we have the friggin' police chief jumping on and trying to shut us down and saying that we have to be licensed security guards or we can't be out there. And that's just absurd. The regulations only apply to employed people. But why would he even try to do that? Why would he care about us stopping arsonists? It makes no sense. So whose side is he on? Apparently he's on the side of the arsonists.
So the chief of police there, the police have instructed you guys that you're not official in the town, so just...
They said that we're in violation of the regulations regulating security guards. We don't have security guard licenses. And some of our guys do. Some of the retired cops don't need one. Mm-hmm. But the point is that they're trying to use that as an argument for why we shouldn't even be there.
Right.
And it's just ludicrous. So I'm part of here to go and fight that too.
Yeah.
We have two different attorneys right now we're talking to, and we may well file for injunctive relief, a court order compelling the chief of police to not try to interfere with volunteers. Because what's that say? So if you have an old lady next door during looting and she's worried about being murdered, you can't go stand on her front porch with your shotgun because you're not a licensed security guard, even though you're her neighbor. It's just nuts.
Yeah. How about we see what the people would like? I mean, I'm sure the lady...
Well, people should be free to go and help each other.
Yeah.
Whether they want to or not, that's up to them. But if they want to, they should be free to. They are free to. Mm-hmm. That's our argument. Mm-hmm. And so our guys have been there, and they've been there every day since. We have not left. This is one thing the media is screwing up, is that we didn't get kicked out. Mm-hmm. They came to us and said, you're in violation of these regs, and well, we just went ahead and guarded the property anyway.
Why would
but if you want to talk to our local team leader about that, he can give you all the details.
Why wouldn't they want someone like yours' help? Unless is it about, do they want the chaos? Do they want the destruction? Is this kind of a...
Well, that's what I think. I think they want the false paradigm for the American people. They want them to believe that only the officials, only the licensed, recognized official guardians of the state can protect you, and you can't protect yourselves. And they also want people to think that, well, we need more militarized police. You gotta have more power in the hands of government, because look what happens if you don't. There's gonna be chaos and looting and mass murder and cats and dogs living together. They want you to feel like your only alternative is a hyper-militarized police force and a police state. Yeah. So we're saying no. They're selling you a bill of goods. The real answer is the restoration of the militia, the people. The founders expected us to be the people themselves. We're supposed to be the posse for the sheriff, the law enforcement function, but also the military function, the militia. It's the only safe place to put that power, and it's the only effective place to put that power. So that's why the Second Amendment says a well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state. Mm-hmm. You will not be free. You will not be secure without it. It's necessary. Anything else is not going to cut it.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to the laws, is there any violation of posse comitatus with the military coming in and policing citizens there?
No, I don't think so. That's what the National Guard is for, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're the last rest. I wouldn't call them the militia because they're a select militia, but they're what we have left of it.
Yeah.
My only fault with any criticism is it should be all of us. All able-bodied citizenry should be the militia. Mm-hmm. We are. But we should be organized, trained, and equipped, and ready to go. The National Guard, I think, has done a decent job here, except they weren't properly deployed. They were deployed to go guard government buildings and bigwigs' residences, and they left the average poor person out in the dark.
Right.
Out there exposed to all the arsonists.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what kind of numbers would you say are there in regards to legitimate protesters who are there to demonstrate versus these small provocateur few who end up being, arsonists?
Well, Sam gave an interview where he said he figured the ratio is like 1 to 5. It's probably higher than that. You've got at the most 1 out of every 5 are troublemakers. But I think it's probably even fewer.
Yeah.
I think you have more peaceful protesters than not by far.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is, if you take that many arsonists, a team of arsonists can go around and spend like multiple fires in just a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no problem. That's why you got to guard the buildings. They should have big business owners and the homeowners around here should have got together and said, okay, we're going to post people on top of the buildings to put fires out. Mm-hmm. That would have stopped 90% of all the fires. And then, hey, how about some business owners and neighbors with shotguns in their hands standing out in front of the businesses? You wouldn't have had any fires at all. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't have happened.
Well, what are your plans and the rest of the Oath Keepers there for the following weeks? And what do you forecast? What do you expect to see there in the next few weeks as this continues to unfold?
Well, we hope it just kind of scales down. We really do. We hope that, things have calmed down enough that we don't see the same kind of violence and mayhem we saw last week. That's our hope. Mm-hmm. But we are committed. The people we promised protection to, we have an obligation to keep that promise. Mm-hmm. And so as long as it takes to do that, we'll be here. So but I'm going to let the local guys on the ground here make that call. If things wind down enough that they believe that we don't need to be here anymore, then we'll go ahead and go home. But we'll always be. What's kind of nice about having, this is the point, is you want locals to be ready to help locals. So that's what we have here. And if we are needed again, we got guys here locally that can step in, and then we can bring more people back in. But really, what should happen is the people of Ferguson should organize their own neighborhood watches, and people of Missouri should be organized enough that they can take care of it. You shouldn't need outside help. But it does not help when you've got a governor who either out of gross negligence and like idiocy or willful manipulation of obeying higher orders leaves people undefended. I mean, his actions are inexcusable. And the lieutenant governor of the state of Missouri is openly criticizing the governor for good reason. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is just either it's gross incompetence or it's intentional. How do you explain it?
It almost seems like an order out of chaos tactic in order to bring on even more of a police state, not only in Ferguson, but this will have a trickle effect all throughout the world.
Because now they can say, see, this is what we need MRAPs. This is what we need, militarized police. Look at this. Mm-hmm. Look at all this. And freedom doesn't work. Look, free speech and assembly doesn't work. You need curfews. You need all these things. Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. So like we're saying, the answer really is hey, you must have local security. You must have, and it should be the people themselves. The people can't be used to oppress the people.
Yes.
The people cannot be used to abandon the people. If the governor tried to order all of the people, if they were the militia, to not go put out fires, they could tell them to go stuff it. Each individual town militia company could just go do what they need to do in their own town.
Yeah.
Like a volunteer fire department, same kind of thing, right? If you told the volunteer fire department, some governor tried to tell the volunteer fire department, don't go put out fires, like that's where done one in Montana. We just told them to go pound sand, to put the fire out. Mm-hmm. So what you need though is you need organization. You gotta have people organized.
Mm-hmm. Well, for you guys are well organized there and are doing a great job. For people who are watching this and who are in fear for their life and they don't want to look to the state and to the police to protect them, but do want some protection, where can they find you guys if they're watching right now?
But that's not the point. The point is I want them to protect themselves. We're willing to train them. Mm-hmm. That's the point of our CPT program, our Community Preparedness Team program. We are willing to go and serve as training cadre, but we want you to get off the couch and go start a neighborhood watch. We'll help you, but you are responsible, because in the end, you can't, oh, please, Oath Keepers, come save us. That's not the answer. You got to be really ready to save yourself. There's only so many of us. Mm-hmm. But look at this. We had to bring guys from multiple states to go guard 4 buildings. It doesn't make any sense. That's not going to work long term. What's going to work is the people getting off the couch. Mm-hmm. We're willing to help, but they got to be willing to get off the couch.
Yeah. That's right. Well, I think they're starting to get to that point because they're seeing what's unfolding before their very eyes, and it's time to take matters into our own hands, just like you said.
No, that's just the reality. You're always going to wind up on the front line with shotguns and rifles at some point. You're going to wind up doing it, whether it's after a natural disaster or a man-made disaster. It's just the same thing over and over again.
Right.
Look at the Korean shop owners during the Rodney King riots. Nobody else was going to save their buildings being burned to the ground and looted. They had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a reality. It's part of life.
Mm-hmm.
So folks need to realize that. Now, the more effective you are, the more organized you are, the more effective you're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So if only all of Los Angeles was ready to do what the Korean shop owners did, you wouldn't have had any looting or arson in Los Angeles. Same thing here in Ferguson.
Mm-hmm.
If only all the people of Ferguson were organized to do what those young black men did at the Comics Station,
Mm-hmm.
or what we did, they have it handled. But you don't got to be a high-speed load rack operator to guard your neighborhood. All you got to do is be willing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Perhaps that's a lesson that we can all take from Ferguson is that, you have to be prepared because you never know when the state is going to have its boot come crashing down. So being ready.
Well, you should be organized to help each other for multiple reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And it certainly helps, just like Alexander Solzhenitsyn said in the Gulag Archipelago. If only they'd have realized the situation and come together to ambush the secret police when it came to arrest people in the middle of the night, eventually there'd have been no more secret police, right? Stalin would have run out of secret police. So organizing yourselves, look at the people down in Michoacan, Mexico. They got sick and tired of being oppressed by the cartels and the corrupt cops in the back pocket. They had no defense.
Mm-hmm.
And so they took matters into their own hands and started, hunting the cartels down.
Mm-hmm.
And they wiped out the cartels down there. So in the end, it's always go back to people. Whether it's a man-made disaster or a natural disaster, the single best solution is for the people themselves to organize for mutual aid and self-defense.
Mm-hmm. As the police continue to consolidate their power and build their police state, the people equally have to resist, right, and work together.
There was no professional police at the time of the foundings. You, the average citizen, the hue and the cry would go up, and the average Joe was obligated to get off his couch, go out the front door, and help hunt down whoever it was, the fugitive,
Mm-hmm.
or stop the crime. And whether as the posse or just as the community as a body, that's what they did. And they all served in the militia, and they all served on the volunteer fire department.
Mm-hmm.
When the fire bell rang, you didn't sit there and go, "Oh, I hope they get the fire out." No, everyone jumped up and figured around outside and started bailing.
Mm-hmm.
In a bucket line.
Yeah.
So that's what the founders expected us to do. That's what a free people do. Anything less, you're not a free people.
Mm-hmm.
There's such thing as a free lunch. So I get sick and tired. I get so sick and tired of looking at people who are afraid to go out and organize. They're like, "Oh no, I can't do that. I'll be on the list." I just want to slap them. What kind of an American is that?
Mm-hmm.
Friggin' coward. Move to friggin'. I was just going to move to Canada, but I don't want to insult you Canadians. But, move to some other country that's not free. Go to China.
Yeah.
You want to live like that? Like a friggin' servile slave? Go to China, someplace like that.
Yeah. Well, when this New World Order system, if they ever do, it comes together, when we're looking back on this, we want to be able to say to our grandchildren that we were on the right side of the fight, and we joined with the people and fought for freedom and for liberty against tyranny. So.
Got no choice. I've said it before, if we don't do what we have to do and what we're duty bound to do, then one day our children and grandchildren, if they're still alive, will curse our names.
Yeah, it's a sign of the times that we're in, and again, I just want to thank you guys for putting yourselves out there and for, doing what it takes is leading by example, really, and showing the people that they have the power within themselves to be able to protect themselves, and they, can learn from people like you. So what's the websites for anybody who wants to learn more about you guys and to learn about how they can protect themselves as well?
The website is oathkeepers.org.
Okay, great. Well, stay safe out there, and again, on behalf of everybody there that you're helping, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Take care.